Right now on the National Weather Desk, Earth's distress call. The UN sounds a red alert over our planet's rising temperatures. While in places like Maine, a lack of solid ice on lakes and ponds is taking a toll.
The earliest it's been since the mid-1800s.
Frozen fruit, how an overnight freeze is hurting peach orchards.
Because all these blooms are shot.
Snowed in, how rescuers freed a man who was trapped in 5 feet of snow for 10 hours.
But I didn't estimate the snow to be up to my shoulders.
Why it may be tough to make a phone call during next month's solar eclipse.
Could be some disruption, especially for those that use cellular data.
And we'll turn to our team of meteorologists for some lessons in social meteorology.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie. The United Nations Weather Agency is sounding a red alert about global warming. The World Meteorological Organization's State of the Global Climate Report says efforts to reverse recent trends have been inadequate. It says there is now a high probability that 2024 will be another record hot year. But the report isn't all bad news. It did find renewable energy from wind, solar, and water power rose 50% from 2022. Meantime, the world's ocean surface temperatures have broken records every day for more than a year. That's according to the data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Those records led scientists to sound the alarm about the impacts on marine life and extreme weather. High ocean temperatures can be catastrophic for coral. Ocean heat can also set the stage for more powerful hurricanes and can fuel other weather events that become extreme, like scorching heat waves and intense precipitation. Well, those warm temperatures were also felt across the U.S. this year, especially in places used to cold winters. That includes Maine, where ice fishing is typically still available this time of year, but not this year. Folks are feeling the impact of what's called early ice outs. As Brad Rogers reports, it's harmful to lakes, wildlife, and the state's winter economy.
Pat Duplessis is an ice fisherman who's lived on Cobbossee Lake his entire life.
It's nice when you're out fishing when it's a little warmer, but you need the ice to be safe with it.
And here, the ice was gone by March 13th, a new record.
There is no ice at all. Like I say, the earliest it's been since the mid-1800s when they've been keeping records of it on the lake here.
Historically, ice outs in Maine start around mid-April, but this year they started 4 and even 5 weeks earlier than that, setting all kinds of records.
Toga's Pond and other nearby lakes were ice-free even earlier, on March 7th.
Yeah, it is becoming a trend. Having these early ice outs, having a lack of snow really starts to impact, winter recreation and those who rely on it.
Early ice outs also harm Maine's cold water fishery.
Trout and landlocked salmon thrive on, high oxygen, cold water. And if our waters continue to warm, those type of fish are going to begin to disappear from the southern part of their range.
Our lakes are right on the edge. Snowstorms now happen as rainstorms. You form less ice and you melt it faster.
Colby College environmental chemist Whitney King has studied another problem made worse by a short ice season: toxic algae blooms.
And that algae bloom impacts recreational opportunities, it impacts property values, it impacts water quality. And a lot of folks drink the water out of their lakes, and you can't drink the water out of the lake when you have a full-blown algae bloom.
Shorter winters may sound good to some.
The ice fishing was fun, but I'm ready for spring and getting the boats out.
But they lead to more trouble on Maine lakes.
Well, the overnight freeze that hit southern states Monday night is taking a toll on North Carolina peach growers. Howard Taylor runs KT's Orchard near Asheville. He says overnight lows hit 25 degrees for 6 hours straight. He says that combination at this time of year comes with losses. But Taylor says it could have been worse. He has a variety of peach trees, some early bloomers susceptible to a cold snap like last night, but some bloom a little bit later. He's in the process of assessing the damage.
I'd say we're about 50% now, because all these blooms are shot. When the sun comes out on them, they're going to turn brown. And I really hesitant to put a number on it right now, because till they do that, I won't know how bad I'm hit.
Still with 28 peach tree varieties, Taylor says he'll have a crop this year, and he's diversified with apple trees and a variety of berries. A Colorado man is telling his story after being trapped in 5 feet of snow for 10 hours last week. He's now out of the hospital after being treated for hypothermia. Sam Pena has his story of survival.
Woke up to a tremendous amount of snow, started cutting my way out.
During snow season, you'll find Bren Wilson helping out the neighbors.
I'm the one doing the recovery. I'm the one doing the rescue.
Tackling the snow and rescuing stranded friends in his big red tractor.
I was going to try to make it to my neighbor's ranch down the hill, which I estimated to be maybe a half mile or so, but I didn't estimate the snow to be up to my shoulders.
But last Thursday, Bren was the one in need of rescuing.
And I got myself into no man's land.
After his tractor shut down while trying to clear the road, he was stranded in shoulder-deep snow.
It was snow cave time.
Bren tried to rest in a cave until rescuers could arrive, but he was fading fast.
I was shutting down. I couldn't verbalize. My hallucinations were wild.
Miraculously, his phone rang, and for an hour and a half, his daughter Kyla helped navigate rescuers.
Alpine did it the old-fashioned way, Nordic skis and snowshoes, and it was a long haul.
The Alpine rescue team found him in the nick of time.
I said my goodbyes to my daughter. It was tough.
Ensuring that he would be around for his family, who have a few upcoming celebrations.
It was very, very difficult to say goodbye to her, especially this close to her college graduation in a month and a half that I'm going to in upstate New York.
In the days since, he's started to recover and is even ready to get back to work.
I'm very, very sore because the work still needs to be done. As you can see, I have lots of vehicles kind of still.
But this time, Bren's neighbors are the ones doing that work, clearing out his driveway and roads.
We're a small community, but we're a strong community, and we really look out for each other.
Extending a helping hand to the man who's freely given his before.
Well, it seemed like something out of a summer blockbuster film when the volcano in southwest Iceland erupted Saturday for the 4th time since December. It was all too real for a North Carolina family that witnessed it. Now they're back home, but Rex Hodge sat down with them to talk about their once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Blame it on Tom Roberts. A thought on his bucket list to see the northern lights from Alaska detoured to the land of fire and ice.
It's just as good to see the lights from Iceland.
What he and 14 family and friends got wasn't from above, but from below, when the volcano near their Blue Lagoon resort erupted during dinner.
We sat there for a solid probably 5-10 seconds looking around like, is this actually happening right now? And then once we realized, oh, it's actually happening, that was when it kind of kicked in, like, we got to go. We got to get out.
Sean Sandifer and his girlfriend Kelly were part of the group.
It was a surreal, picture to walk out of the restaurant and see the sky glowing red.
It was scary. It was definitely an adrenaline rush.
Just on vacation at the Blue Lagoon in Iceland.
Sirens blared and resort staff quickly evacuated everyone.
They were ushering us pretty quickly. They didn't want to wait around.
All the employees at the Blue Lagoon, they were super calm and...
Sean and his group recorded the scene in video and pictures, the volcano just a mile or two away, as they ran to the hotel to gather just their important things.
When we were outside, you could hear the roaring of the eruption happening.
After that, it was just a whirlwind of trying to get all our stuff and trying to make sure everybody got on the bus.
All members accounted for, they were bused to safety, left to catch their breath and process what they just witnessed.
This is Mother Nature and nothing can stop it. It just put into perspective the sheer power of, the volcano. This is probably one of the most unique experiences I think I've ever had in my entire life that nothing will probably ever top.
Well, last year was the first time Canada was the most polluted country in North America. According to information released by the global air quality tracker IQ Air, only 7 countries met the World Health Organization's standards for air quality last year. Officials blame the thousands of wildfires that raged from May to October. The country with the worst air quality overall was Bangladesh. Well, coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll continue our countdown to the eclipse across America with a look at how internet and cell service could be impacted by the big event. And we'll show you when is the best time to start planting your spring garden.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a lot happening in the Northeast in the coming days. Today will feature some sun, but notice a little bit of snow in New York, a little bit of rain there in northern New Jersey and southern parts of New York. Temperatures will generally top out in the 40s. This little area of low pressure fires up tonight and develops over New England. 9:30 tonight, we have some snow in some areas. We have some rain in other areas. It may come down at a pretty heavy clip for a little while. The sun makes an appearance on Thursday, but it's windy and colder with highs in the 30s.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. Looks like Wednesday is going to start out not quite as cold, but we're looking dry until the afternoon. We do have a front that's going to go by to bring a chance for some stray light showers or sprinkles. It will be windy tomorrow, gusting around 35 miles per hour. But that system coming by will also drop our temperature significantly. We'll see highs in the upper 50s to around 60 on Wednesday, but as we move into Thursday, much cooler. Highs will only be in the 40s.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Another comfortable day ahead of us, sitting right at our averages for this time of year for the majority of us. High temperatures will be in the 70s. For the most part, we will see some 60s, Asheville, Pensacola, and then we're creeping into the upper 70s further in South Florida. Some of those clouds will make their way across Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and then we will start to see some isolated showers build in Arkansas ahead of a frontal system that will be moving across the area. For the second half of this week, we can start to see the beginning of that low pressure system moving into Louisiana.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
We see the power of tornadoes as several Ohio communities continue cleanup after a deadly spate of twisters last week. But a gust of wind flipped over this small airplane in Maine Tuesday afternoon. Fortunately, no one was inside the aircraft. And spring is officially underway, but the night before was frosty across the South, with sunrise, melting, and evaporation were in motion.
Well, one of the largest and most violent tornado outbreaks in U.S. history happened almost 50 years ago. Nearly 150 tornadoes struck 13 states. 30 of them were either an F4 or an F5. That's the old Fujita scale. More than 330 people were killed. West Virginia meteorologist Dante Ricky has more on what officials there are doing to prepare for the next weather disaster.
On April 3rd and 4th, 1974, a rare super outbreak occurred of at least 148 tornadoes across 13 states. 6 of them struck southern West Virginia during the late night hours. Lisa Good was living in Meadow Bridge, where an F3 tornado struck while she was home late at night with little to no warning.
We didn't have that kind of service in 1974. We went by things that maybe we heard on the television, but that night we found out because we went to Wednesday night church and everybody was talking about a tornado coming and we didn't think it would happen.
The environment that day was ripe for tornadoes. A strong low-pressure center formed over Missouri during the daytime. It tracked more northward into the Great Lakes region. As a result, winds at the ground level shifted more northward during the afternoon and evening. This increased the twisting effect with height. A warm air mass with dew points in the 60s provided ample moisture, and a peak jet streak above of over 160 miles an hour encouraged thunderstorm formation. Advances and warnings have been made to alert the public, and collaboration with emergency management officials has gotten a head start after recent severe weather events. Take this week to practice your emergency plan with your friends and family, and always have a way to receive emergency weather alerts.
We continue our countdown to the solar eclipse across America, now less than 3 weeks away. In Texas, officials are preparing for a tourism boom in smaller cities throughout the state. There is that concern that communication could become an issue. Stephanie Esquivel explains.
just when you have a really concentrated area of people using the same cell tower, there could be some disruption, especially for those that use cellular data.
With the population of Kendall County expected to double during April's total eclipse, the city of Brittany is aware that could strain cell phone towers. Emergency management of Kendall County contacted major cell phone providers to establish a contingency plan for cell service issues, but were unable to secure additional resources.
Instead of having to go somewhere and erecting a whole new tower, cell phone tower for cellular data, they have mobile ones available. We made that request. We were not authorized to get one.
For anyone who plans to travel to the area from San Antonio or anywhere else, be aware, because many credit and debit machines do rely on internet. Local businesses are also formulating backup plans just in case they lose web access.
We also are getting some redundancy of having another way to take credit cards in addition to our regular way, just in case the internet goes down, things like that.
In case ATM machines, credit and debit terminals are affected, the city of Brittany and local businesses are suggesting anyone who comes bring an alternative payment method like cash.
I mean, cash is always going to be okay, right?
Founder of Free Roam Brewing Company, Jeremy Affelt, says he doesn't expect the brewery to have technology issues.
A lot of our stuff's on our fiber. We have our own dedicated fiber line, so we don't share fiber with any other business.
Nonetheless, he and his team are working alongside the city and other businesses to have backup plans in case they do experience technology issues.
I know we've met with the city on different scenarios, and they said, yeah, there's obviously stuff that's going to get slowed down. We just have to be prepared for it.
And stay with the National Weather Desk as we count down the days until the April 8th eclipse. I'll be co-hosting a 3-hour live coverage special as we track the eclipse from Texas to Maine. We'll also have an entire playlist dedicated to the eclipse on our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk and be sure to subscribe while you're there. And now let's take a look at some of the latest posts from our meteorologists across the country in a segment we like to call Social Meteorology. We'll start with Preston Donyan and a look at why Easter is a little earlier this year than usual.
Easter feels a little bit early this year, so that raises the question, how is the date determined? Well, it all depends on that first full moon after the spring equinox. We take the Sunday after that first full moon, and that is our Easter Sunday. Now, with the variation in the lunar cycle, that gives us a wide range in possible dates that Easter can fall on. From March 22nd at the very earliest, all the way to April 25th at the latest, and you can see that variation on display just over the next 2 years alone. Easter this year is on March 31st, but in 2025, it falls on April 20th. And of course, just for good measure, 2026 is right in the middle of that range at April 5th. Now, taking a look at this graph from the nerds at Wikipedia, we can see a 300-year range of the probability of each date of Easter, ranging from 0% likelihood to 4.5% likelihood. And you can see with this graph that the most common date for Easter to fall is indeed March 31st. So this is actually pretty expected.
Hey, I'm Storm Track 9 meteorologist Bill Race in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I was just thinking spring is just around the corner. I had posted something about that earlier. And that means severe weather season. And what we tout here is for you to have a weather radio, something like this that you can program for your county, and it will wake you up at night or alert you during the day if you're just doing some work around the house. So I just wanted to bring that up. And these are, not very expensive. I'd say anywhere from $35 to $40 for like this particular model. And that's all it takes. You just program your county. It's not that hard. And then any watches, warnings that you want, they will come across. So enjoy and have a great spring ahead.
If you live anywhere where the blue and the red is, this is your year for cicadas. Now, these aren't your typical summertime cicadas that you hear on a nice warm summer evening. These are going to emerge in the spring, and there are going to be millions of them. It's not just a few of them. There are going to be millions of them, and they're going to be very loud. All right, now I was in Ohio for Brood 10. This is a video to show what some places would look like. The shells are everywhere. They're all over the trees. They fly into everything. I had to drive with my windows up because they would fly into my car. I walked in to get my hair done and one was just stuck on my shirt. So yeah, Now the good thing is that they won't hurt you. Basically, they will mate, they'll lay their eggs, then they die, and then the new cicadas will emerge 13 to 17 years later, and all the animals get to feast on the dead cicadas.
Well, we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code at the bottom left corner of your screen. Well, now time for a short break, but first we're going to soar over Virginia's Lake Bonaventure.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. We're looking at pretty quiet weather across the Midwest. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Notice that temperature-wise, got a lot of 50s and 40s, and if you live to the north, 30s across a lot of the northern part of the Midwest and the upper Midwest today. We get into a little bit of snow trying to move its way into the Dakotas as we head into your Thursday, but the rest of the Midwest pretty dry for Thursday. That rain and snow continues to move its way towards the Great Lakes as we head into Friday with chilly temperatures to the north.
Good Wednesday morning to you. Meteorologist Chris Suchet. Look at our forecast today across the region, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day. We do have an upper low off to the west that'll be arriving Wednesday night through Thursday, and as it moves in, we do have a marginal severe weather outlook for wind and hail and a scattering of storms that we will see into early on Thursday. So again, we'll keep an eye on radar trends here for you. Oklahoma, Texas into Louisiana through the day. High temperatures Thursday, 60s and 70s.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We've got warm temperatures in the inland portions of our western area, but we do expect cooling to come in, especially for the Pacific Northwest, where we're expecting some rain coming in later on tonight. Whereas if we move into the forecast for areas to the north around Montana and parts of North Dakota, a little bit of snow developing along a stationary front. That's the scene from here.
National Weather Desk.
Well, today is the first full day of spring, but some people in southern states could still see freezing temperatures, and it's probably more common than you think. Let's turn to Alabama meteorologist Evan Chikvara to get a better understanding of early spring temperatures.
Not only is it not uncommon, it's pretty close to normal. Our average last freeze, March 21st. The first day of spring typically falls between the 19th and the 21st of March, depending on the year. And we usually have our last freeze sometime at the end of the month or beginning of April. So this is actually very common. And the other question I got was, well, if we have 12 hours of sunlight, why are we not warming up? Why is it not instantly as warm as it would be, say, in September when we also have 12 hours of sunlight? Well, it takes time for us to warm up. The surface temperatures, the ground, infrastructure, all warms over time. So as days get longer and longer, it's almost like a snowball effect. You have warm days, warmer nights, and as we get into June, July, August, we gradually have warmer temperatures. So yes, we have the same amount of daylight today that we would in September, but by September, we've also had several months to warm.
Well, thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Emily Gracie. Make it a great Wednesday. We'll see you right back here again tomorrow.